A mother gives birth 2 weeks early so that her ailing husband can meet their newborn daughter. It feels like a nightmare. Your wife is expecting your youngest child while you are gravely ill. The likelihood of seeing your child grow up is minimal, and being present for the birth is uncertain. This was the harsh reality for Mark Adler and his family. His wife, Diane, was heartbroken and wished for her husband to at least have the chance to meet their baby. Stay tuned to discover how this story unfolds for the Adler family. Bailey Cooper. Let's start with the story of Bailey Cooper, who unfortunately also experienced such a horrific event. The Cooper family from England was a typical happy family, but their lives changed completely when one of the family members faced severe health problems. They received more and more bad news from the doctors. Lee and Rachel's son, Bailey Cooper, was diagnosed a few years ago with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, a rare form of lymphoma. When he was diagnosed, the cancer was already at stage 3. Bailey managed to overcome it, but sadly, it returned a year later. Unfortunately, when they discovered it had returned, it was already at stage 4. The doctors expected that Bailey's life would be short. They estimated that it would take only a few weeks or even a few days before the cancer spread throughout his body and ended his life. However, Bailey Cooper was eager to meet someone before he left this world. At that time, Rachel was pregnant with her third child, Bailey's little sister. Bailey's parents thought he wouldn't be able to meet his sister, but Bailey had a different opinion. He was looking forward to the arrival of his new sister and would do anything to meet her. Bailey wasn't ready to give up fighting. He was a cheerful, optimistic, and strong boy who had experienced so much at such a young age. He had fought valiantly and always tried to stay as joyful as possible, impressing everyone over and over again. He also had a little brother, Riley, whom he adored. They shared a strong bond. Bailey was a good brother, charming and caring, always looking after his little brother. He also wanted to show how well he could take care of his little sister. The situation was devastating for the family. One of the most challenging moments for Lee and Rachel was informing Bailey that he didn't have long to live. They wanted to be honest with him, but of course, it wasn't an easy thing to do. Bailey felt incredibly sad when he heard this. Not long after he accepted his fate, he smiled at his parents and asked if they could go home. On the way home, Bailey suggested calling his sister Millie. He wanted to spend his last moments at home, stating that he didn't want to die alone. He wanted to be surrounded by his family. His parents didn't realize at the time that he also wanted to have his little sister there. Bailey held on for months, receiving medication to make everything less painful, but his health deteriorated quickly. It was tough. It was unbelievable that he had survived this long. He even managed to meet his sister, Millie, which made Bailey very happy. He had proven himself once again and shown that he was the best brother anyone could ever have. During his last moments, Bailey attempted to look after his sister in the best possible way. He already adored his little brother and now had a little sister too. He did everything a good brother should do, if not more. He tried to help his newborn sister as much as he could. He hugged Millie repeatedly, washed her, sang psalms, and changed her diapers. Bailey passed away on Christmas Eve. He selected all kinds of gifts for his little brother, Riley, as his Christmas presents. Bailey was the best brother ever. Before he passed, he said it was time to go because he had to become the guardian angel for his little brother and sister. His entire family still misses him every day. Miles Agnew, an American woman named Michelle Agnew, adopted Miles when he was only 3 months old. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to spend a lot of time with him. Michelle had also experienced a terrible Christmas. Her son, Miles Agnew, was in a hospice at the age of 2 during Christmas. He was born with several health problems, suffering from microcephaly since birth and having numerous other issues such as epilepsy. He was still so young, but had been through so much already. When Miles stayed in a hospice at Primary Children's Hospital, he couldn't do anything. He often had epileptic seizures and couldn't see or eat properly. Those were tough days for him and his family. Luckily, someone would visit and cheer him up. Miles was still very young, but the holidays cheered him up. The first time Miles celebrated Christmas, he was super excited and happy. His mother, Michelle, remembered this vividly. That's why she thought it was a good idea to invite someone special. Michelle arranged for Santa Claus to visit Miles to ensure that he could at least be cheerful during his last days. All she wanted was for her son, Miles, to be happy. Jeff Bodley, who had 35 years of experience as Santa Claus at the Children's Hospital, loved this idea. Even for Santa Claus, Jeff Bodley, it was a challenging but beautiful experience. He visited Miles and cheered him up. Jeff held Miles in his arms for some time and described it as if he were holding some kind of doll. Miles was extremely weak and had no energy. Jeff did his best not to cry during the visit. He felt sad that this little boy was so sick, but he was glad that he managed to cheer him up. Miles' eyes showed Michelle that he appreciated this moment. Michelle was very grateful to Jeff because he had made the last moments of her son's life a bit easier. Shortly afterward, Michelle had to say goodbye to her son. She still can't believe it, and she misses him. Mark and Diane Adler already had a wonderful family. They had 4 beautiful and healthy children, and soon the 5th child would arrive because Diane was pregnant. The whole family was looking forward to this. They couldn't wait to meet their youngest child and sister. They were ready for the expansion of their family. Only 1 more month and they would welcome the baby. Unfortunately, the family would face major obstacles instead of being as happy as they had hoped. Diane was heavily pregnant and close to giving birth. Unfortunately, around this time, they received terrible news about one of the family members. The father, Mark, had health issues. He had endured a tough battle with cancer, and after a lot of chemotherapy, he was finally free of cancer. This sounded great at first, but unfortunately, shortly after, they received more bad news. Mark may have been cancer-free, but because of the chemotherapy, he now faced different health problems. He had undergone chemotherapy for a total of 8 months, and as a result, his lungs were damaged. The chemotherapy had given him pulmonary fibrosis. The family barely celebrated the good news that Dad was cancer-free before they received another blow. They thought there might be other options available. They believed Mark could receive alternative treatments or extra oxygen, which would allow him to live for years to come. But unfortunately, this wasn't the case. The doctors told 52-year-old Mark, out of the blue, that he only had a week left. Nobody in the family believed this, and they were devastated. If Mark only had a week to live, he couldn't even meet the baby. They were at a loss for words. Both Mark and the rest of his family wanted him to meet the baby if possible. After all, he was the father and the birth was so near. Together with the doctors, Diane decided to give birth earlier so that Mark might still meet his 5th child. Diane gave birth 2 weeks prematurely so that the dying father could still meet his daughter. Everyone felt sad, but also happy that Mark could see the baby. Mark used the short time he had left with his newborn child and the rest of the family as well. Diane and Mark's 5th child, Savannah, was laid in her father's arms shortly after birth. Diane and Mark couldn't stop crying, and all 4 children were there too. They saw how their father spent his last moments with their newborn sister, and they couldn't stop crying either. It was a miserable situation. Mark held Savannah for 45 minutes. He looked at her, cuddled with her, and appreciated every second of it. The family took pictures to remember this moment. Mark was feeling very weak at that moment. He was lying in bed and had not much energy left, but he used all of his strength to enjoy this moment with his daughter to the fullest. He couldn't see his daughter grow up, and maybe this was the last moment he had with her. The next day, Mark attempted to hold his daughter Savannah again, but after just a minute, Diane had to take her away. Mark fell into a coma that same day and passed away 5 days after Savannah's birth. The Adler family has received immense support since his passing, including cards and donations from strangers. With the donations, they purchased a minivan for distraction. They feel Mark's presence and miss him daily, reflecting on the beautiful moments they shared before his departure. Despite their severe conditions, their enthusiasm for life and family kept them going a little longer. Did you know anyone who had a beautiful wish before he or she passed away? Did that wish come true? Let us know in the comment section. I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.